Hello, I am Tim, Agency 13, and today I'm going to start the little video series on how to work with the Lua scripting within Hero Realms Digital. In the last update, Wise Wizard added the ability for players to put in scripts, basically mods for the game. And right now, it's just against the AI. There's no PvP or anything that you can do with it. Although some of the scripts that they wrote are available in challenges. That's it. So, to start off, the first thing you're going to want to do is to go to their site. And I had it on the wrong page, but here we go. Um, it is herorealms.com/Lua Scripting is the name of the page. And here they have the documentation PDF. If you click on that, it will give you like a 50 some page PDF that goes over all the documentation for how stuff's implemented for Hero Realms. I mean, and they're fairly large font on the pages, so it's not as big as it seems by saying 56 pages. So, but there's lots of examples and some explanations. But you probably need to be at least somewhat familiar with coding, scripting, programming, whatever you want to call it, and some of the languages with that. It would probably be the most helpful if you were already familiar with Lua, but if you're not, it's similar enough to some other languages that you shouldn't have a real problem in learning how to do stuff with it within the hero uh, modding stuff. So the other thing that they have here is they have a few example files where they just basically give you the source code that they used and you can do stuff with it. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy all of this, uh, copy it with my shortcuts. And then what you're going to need to do to edit any of the stuff is you're going to need some sort of text editor to edit the stuff in. And there's stuff that is made specifically for programming and scripting. There's quite a number of options when it comes to this. But really, I'm going to give you three options of stuff that I know of. There's Notepad++, which is a fairly bare bones. It's a step up from just using like Notepad for sure. And actually, I used it years and years ago when I was first learning some of this uh, coding and scripting stuff. And there weren't a whole lot of options back then. I know there were other ones, but like that was the best one that I had found back then. But that was probably 15 years ago. And it's been around a while, and it's a good, solid text editor. And then there's what they call IDEs, integrated development environments, which are a fancy text editor that you can have extensions and this sort of stuff installed in for different languages or to have it format the code a certain way, all of that sort of stuff that you can do. Personally, I use VS Code, which is short for Visual Studio Code. And one of the things that's nice about that is that it integrates with Git and GitHub uh, fairly seamlessly. And so it works really well for the version control and working with other people on projects and that sort of thing. The other one that I want to bring up and that I'm going to go over is Atom, and it's pretty similar to VS Code. Um, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Notepad++. Um, and I have this set. If you go in here to the settings and preferences, I have it set to dark mode. I really like dark mode for stuff. But if you turn it off, it's all white. You can pick what works best for you. Um, and then I copied that example code from Wise Wizard. I'm going to paste it in here. to show you. So this is like kind of by default when you paste or write your code or whatever in here, it's going to show you this. A couple of cool things with it is that it will have little indents lines to show you where everything is. And you can do this in the IDE as well. Um, but it's pretty nice to help you make it more readable and easy to use. Another thing, if you go through and you go through the languages, you can find Lua, and then it's going to color it in a certain way to make it even more readable. So then what you would do is you can go in, you can write your own code in here. I'm not really going to write code at the moment, but you write it in, you save the stuff, and then you can load it in. So Notepad++, I didn't actually show the download and installing of it, um, but it's pretty basic how to install this one. There's not a whole lot of steps or anything. And then you can just save the file as whatever you want it to be, and then you load it into the game and you're good to go. So that's the first version. First thing is Notepad++. The next one I want to do is with we'll show Atom next, I guess, because it's fairly easy to use. So I'm going to load up that and install it here really quick. This is Atom. It's got a little welcome page up here in the middle, and can send them whether you want to send your usage data and all that stuff. You can close all that out. A couple things you're probably going to want to do that are kind of easy. I'm going to show you with the mouse. You go up to File and you go to Settings, and then if you go to Install, that's where you search for packages and stuff that you would add to this text editor, basically. So if we type in Lua, then we can find, they got an autocomplete, they got a bunch of different, mods for it. And one of them here is probably just the syntax highlighting. That's the stuff that's going to change the colors and all of that stuff. So we'll install that. It'll just take a minute. But we don't even have to like sit here and wait for it. One other way to get to your settings is just by hitting Control comma. Do that, it pulls it up. And in here, you can also, if you go, it's got all these different menu items right here. Like the editor, you can change your font size, you can change the line height, how wide everything goes in the editor, all of that stuff you can do. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to close out that welcome guide. So this is kind of the blank stuff. So you can add folders, open a project, that sort of stuff there. We're just going to make a new file right here. And by default, I think the window width is only up to this little line in the middle. So, but we're going to paste that same file that we had from the Wise Wizard website. And there it is. And then you're going to edit it the same way as you would in a text editor. That sort of stuff. There's some more fancy options with this, with your if you look down at the bottom, you can sign into GitHub, you can log in, and then you can, do the all the Git stuff through GitHub. You can also do it independently of GitHub, just through Git. They have those. It looks like they're built in. Either that, or it's from when I had this installed a while back. Some of these extensions are on there. So if they're not showing up when you download it, go into those settings, search for that stuff that you want to add, and you can add all that sort of stuff. So, but that's again a text editor that you can use to modify the code, that you can see stuff easy. I think if I look at the settings and then the packages, we go here. Looks like it's already in and working and ready to go. Yeah, and it adds 4 milliseconds to how long it takes me to start up. But then it gives you options as far as like word wrap and that sort of stuff. But that kind of gives you stuff for Lua, and you can get other extensions for it that you want to use. So I'm not going to go too in depth, but this is kind of I'm not going to save this. That's Atom. That's an option. Kind of lightweight, and it has a little. I feel like it has a little less in the way of extensions, or not necessarily extensions. That's the wrong word, but built-in functions like that where it will connect things and stuff as compared to VS Code. But it's pretty lightweight, pretty quick. It'll work on multiple operating systems. Most of my computers are Windows computers, so a lot of my stuff is going to be through there. So that's Atom. Now we're going to go to VS Code. I have to install that one. So we're going to pull that up. And then you will get the license agreement and all of that fun stuff for installing things. So I'm going to accept it. Say where you want to install it. Start menu, folder, yep. I want a desktop icon. You can add the open with code actions. Whatever. This is all stuff that you can read through and do with the install. And then you go through and it's going to install. I think it's pretty quick to install for this one. And this is the program that I normally use. I uninstalled it, and now I'm reinstalling it on my machine. So we're going to finish that, and we're going to load it up. And I have it set up so that it does not have any of my like login stuff or whatever already on here. So this is the basic stuff for VS Code. And again, it's set for dark mode. That's how I like to work. It has built-in search source control. So like Git features, being able to do stuff through GitHub, all of that. I have a couple of extensions. So if this little icon right here is your extensions. I have a couple things here. Some file icons, some themes, that sort of stuff. But I have a lot of the Git extensions. I don't see any of the Lua stuff on here, so I must have uninstalled that. So you just search in the bar there, do the same thing. So you can Lua language server support. You can see like how many people use all the stuff over there that have downloaded it and everything. And then let's see. I think the Lua right here is the one that I want to install, because it has a number of other couple other little extensions built in. So it's on there, everything. So then if we close this out and we go to new file, it's going to ask you what type. You can just use text file, and this is what it's going to look like. So if you just paste that same stuff in here, then we have the code. And because we installed the Lua stuff, it does the coloring, all that stuff, sort of like how Notepad++ did. Atom does it too. You just have to set that stuff up in the settings and have the stuff for the language and all of that. Now, a couple things you can do. You can sign in to sync your settings. You can, with some of the apps, there's the command palette, which gives you different commands to use. Let's see. I'm not going to sign in to sync because then it's going to load all of my normal extensions and stuff that I have built in. I want to show you just kind of how basic. This is how you set up the IDE and be able to